Hey YouTube, it's Sade and I'm back. Finally, after months of being disobedient. So the Lord told me to start this YouTube channel a year ago, if not before. And I started to make speaking videos, which is what the Lord told me to do. And those speaking videos did pretty well. I got monetized very quickly. And then for some reason, I don't know, I just changed the type of content that I was making and I started to do vlogs. I clearly was being disobedient to God. I knew that the Lord wanted me to do more talking videos, but for some reason, I just didn't obey. So today I was having a conversation with a friend and the topic came up of the YouTube channel because I had shared on Instagram not too long ago that I was starting a new series on fashion, and I know that the Lord wanted me to do YouTube, but I'm going to do this instead. And they brought that up and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. It was a more in-depth conversation, but the thing that really drove the message home to me was they asked, what's holding you back from doing the YouTube? And to be honest, nothing. Like, I literally had nothing in my mind. Like, there was no excuse. There was no reason. There was not anything that I had been thinking about that was holding me back. I have everything I need. And honestly, even as I was about to get on and record, I thought about the scripture. Wait, I'm gonna get my Bible. So this is in 2 Kings 4. I'm laughing because God is so intentional. So this is the story of Elisha. You're probably familiar with it, and the oil and the woman in the home. Now the wife of the son of one of the men who tell what will happen in the future cried out to Elisha. Elisha was a prophet. Your servant, my husband, is dead. You know that your servant honored the Lord with fear, but the man whom he owed money to has come to take away my 2 children to make them serve him. Elisha said to her, what can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? So Elisha's asking the woman what she has in her home to pay this debt. And even as I'm saying this, the Lord is speaking to me. So she said, your woman servant, which is her, has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. Then he said, go around and get jars from all of your neighbors. Get empty jars, many of them. Then go in and shut the door behind you and get your sons. Pour the oil into all of these jars and set aside each one that is full. So she went from him and shut the door behind her sons. They took the jars to her and she poured. When the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another jar. And he said to her, there is not one jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, go and sell the oil and pay what you owe. You and your sons can live on the rest. She had the oil. She had the oil in her home. She then went out and found jars to sell what she already had. It was already in her home. She already had it. And that's what she needed to pay her debt. I'm not saying that this is what the Lord's going to use for that for me. But what I am saying is that a lot of the times when we're asking the Lord for provision or for the Lord to make a way, God is constantly telling us to use what we already have. And for some reason, be it the enemy or ourselves, we doubt, we procrastinate, we, like I, do other things apart from the things that the Lord told us to do. And for whatever purposes the Lord wants to bring about those things, we have exactly what it is that we need. When I sat at that table and I was met with the question, why don't you just start your YouTube channel again? And I couldn't think of a reason why I did it. I had the mic, I had the camera, I had the lights, I had the space, I had the voice. Use what I have. Whatever the Lord wants to do with this YouTube channel is what the Lord wants to do with this YouTube channel. This past year has really shown me a lot about God's character, It's been a very tough year for me, 2024. I would say probably one of the toughest years, but I've had a lot of tough years. But this year, it's like things went up a notch. To whom much is given, much is required. I know that the Lord requires much of me. And this year really challenged me in a lot of areas. But the one thing that it showed me is that God is really my provider. And sometimes He will just hand me the provision. Other times He wants me to use what I have, trust Him, step out on faith. I think about the story of Abram when he was waiting on the promised child, and after, they did their thing with Hagar, they eventually did have the promised child, which was Isaac. And the Lord came to him and said, give up what you have. And Abram woke up the next morning, went to the mountain to sacrifice his son. And before he could sacrifice, the Lord provided. There are some cases when the Lord is asking us to just take that step, right? He is a provider. It was in that place that Abraham called God Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides. God will provide. In what way God will provide, I don't know. But He does. And that's the assurance that we have. Sometimes He's just looking on us to take a step forward to do it. So this is me being obedient. This is me putting myself out there. I have experienced a lot. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I have so many testimonies of what the Lord has done. 2024 was a year of suffering. It was a true year of suffering. I know that there's scripture that says, if we suffer with Christ, we will also reign with Him. I have become one with Christ's suffering this year. I have learned that it is the mark of a true Christian to suffer with God. I have learned that in my suffering, I have definitely seen God in a fresh and a more intimate way. There's a lot of things that the Lord cut off me this year. There's a lot of things that just don't matter anymore. And I'm grateful, although it has hurt. Why am I saying this? I don't know. All I know is that I made up in my mind that I was going to be obedient to God, and I was going to just post the content. So for all who are listening, I pray this encouraged you. We're in this together. I always say I'm not speaking from a mountain. I am right here with you, working it out, trusting the Lord, obeying Him, not knowing where and how. And that's not up to me to figure out, because God's thoughts are way above mine. His thoughts are higher than my thoughts, and I realize that, and I accept that. I'm grateful that God doesn't think the way that I think. He's a God of the exceeding abundant, and He desires to do that. And I pray that whatever purposes and plans that He has for this channel, and I already know that it will fulfill what He desires, that it's manifested, and that whoever watches it gets what they want from the Lord. I'm just a vessel, and clearly the Lord wants to use me. So thank you so much for tuning in. Ironically and not ironically, I have like 20 topics already written of things I know I need to talk about. I mean, when I looked at my notes section, I don't know if y'all can see this, but the topics are already there. So it's in the house. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for all who have joined, and I apologize to those who were just waiting patiently for me to make another video. It's been several months, but I'm back. So please hold me accountable to the things that the Lord's calling me to do. All right. God bless you.